The next question, the Supreme Court ruling in the Dobbs decision. Abortion now, for the most part, illegal in Mississippi. The state's only abortion clinic closed last July. Attorney General Lynn Fitch has joined other states in challenging the expansion of HIPAA laws, and if her objection is successful, it could allow government officials to access patients' out-of-state private medical records. This could potentially allow the state to prosecute in cases where a woman leaves Mississippi to receive an abortion. As governor, we'll start with you, Governor Reeves. Would you support legislation that would allow prosecution for out-of-state abortions?
You know, I'm proud that the state of Mississippi led the charge to overturn Roe v. Wade. That is a decision that individual states ought to make as to what their abortion laws look like. And the fact of the matter is, though, this is an area and a topic where Brandon gets a little bit confused. You see, he has tried to tell the people with millions of dollars from out of state that he is pro-life, and I have no reason to believe that he's not. But I just find it confusing why the vice chairman of the most pro-abortion organization in America, Emily's List believes in abortion up and even beyond a baby being born. And the vice chairman of Emily's List wrote Brandon not one, but 2 checks in this campaign, the most recent one being within the last 2 weeks and being for $50,000. I don't understand why he would even take that check if he's truly pro-life. He ought to send it back to California.
Commissioner.
I wish he would have answered the question that you asked him. I'd be glad to cede him a little time to do that, actually. But let me say this. Unlike Tate Reeves, let me say this to you, Governor. Anybody that contributes to my campaign, I'm not like you. I'm not going to sell my soul for $20 for campaign money. So if somebody donates to my campaign, it doesn't change my beliefs 1 second. The reason you throw that at me so much is you know it's within yourself. That's the reason you accuse me of this. Anybody donate money to me can hang it up. They think they're going to tell Brandon Presley what to do. Nobody from the President of the United States, the head of any political party, is going to tell me what to think and what to do. Listen, I'm a Christian. My faith teaches me to be pro-life. My faith teaches me to be pro-life. And I support exceptions in our law for rape, incest, and life of the mother. But I'm pro-life, and I have been forever. Tate Reeves knows that. He wants to accuse me of things because he would sell his soul for any campaign contribution, and I won't do what a donor tells me to do. He's looking himself in the mirror when he makes that accusation.
First of all, I'm not going to question his Christianity. Second of all, I don't even believe that he would sell his soul for $20. I believe him when he says that. Maybe the first thing he said tonight that I believe. But if you look at how much his solar panel buddies gave him, they gave him a lot more than $20. They gave him tens of thousands and maybe even as much as $100,000. I think he sold his soul for that. Not only do I think he sold his soul for it, I think he broke Mississippi law. The fact of the matter is, 3 public service commissioners have gone to jail for doing exactly what Brandon Presley has done. And so for him to say he wouldn't sell his soul for $20, I'll take him at his word. He charged solar panel buddies a lot more than $20.
I hate to cut you off, gentlemen. Commissioner.
You'll sell yours for a lot cheaper than $20.
Commissioner, candidates, I've got to stop you there because we have to move into our closing statements.
Well, let me say one quick thing. He knows that adds a lie, and the truth of the matter is he knows it is a complete falsehood. He wants to distract from the fact he's at the center of the state's largest public corruption scandal, and he continues to fund his campaign from money from Zach and Nancy New right before they go to jail.
You'll have your closing statement in just a moment. Governor Reeves.
That campaign
Commissioner.